This is the Outliers Edge podcast, where we champion the leaders who are shaping the next era of humanity by taking them to the edge of their comfort zone so that they can lead us to the edge of what's next. I'm your host, Niama Ashong. Let's do this. Hello there. Niama Ashong here, and welcome to the Outliers Edge podcast, where we champion the leaders who are shaping the next era of humanity. We take this really seriously, and we realize that, like, as this happens, humanity is taking place all over the world. This is a global podcast, and as time goes on, we get a chance to really explore the boundaries of just our from our local worlds, or even just our countries, to really take a look and see, like, how are leaders all over the world doing their part to uplift the world, to uplift our consciousness, and to help humanity get ready for whatever is coming next. I'm excited today because today we get a chance to talk to Fulfillment Obi. And Fulfillment Obi is a leader, an outlier who really inspires me with the work that he does and the way that he shows up in life. And we're going to be bringing in a deep level of curiosity here to see and explore and just keep growing with one another. So Fulfillment, I'm very, very excited to be in conversation with you. It's just an absolute pleasure to begin our relationship.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love to be here, and thank you for the opportunity as well. I'm so excited to be on this podcast or in this show with you. And I know that we're going to talk about a lot, and it's going to really inspire to a lot of people out there. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. And I think now that we put it out there, this is going to be inspiring for a lot of people. Let's just focus on the two of us. Let's just make it like inspiring for us. And I know that everything else will flow through. All
right.
So we got a chance to get to start getting to know each other at the beginning of the call. But I'd love for you to just like share with me, remind me here about, like, what are you up to in the world? Like who is Fulfillment?
Okay, Fulfillment Obi, which is my name. The founder of the Living Flames of Fire organization. Is a Christian evangelical organization, and our purpose is to help believers or Christians walk deeper with Christ, to give them a deeper experience of the Christian faith, to see how they can use the scriptures and the things they learn on the daily to improve their life. And also, I am the host of the Life Upgrade podcast, and as the name implies, is a podcast about life upgrade, self-improvement, where I teach people how to live the best life they can be, to work with their purpose, to work in alignment with their destinies, and also how they can bridge their Christian faith and their personal life and be able to produce tangible results in whatever they do. So that's pretty much what I stand for, and that's what I advocate for. And by God's grace, I've been able to inspire a lot of people, build a lot of people, and help people locate their destiny and walk by their purpose.
And you say that, like, I already just like it just like puts me on fire a bit here to be someone who's like on your purpose, like you know what you stand for. If you had to just say, like, in one sentence, like what is it that you stand for? Like, what are you on this earth here to do?
Okay, I stand for just living up to greatness. I want every human being to be able to live a life of greatness. I hate mediocrity. I hate when people are living below what they are supposed to be or what they are created for. So if you go through my podcast or whatever I teach, you always hear me talking about greatness. If you want to be great, you want to climb that ladder of greatness. So I just want everyone to utilize their purpose to be great, to live a life of greatness.
Yeah, when you say greatness, it there's something that stirs inside of me, because recently I've actually been able to, how do I say it, to step into here it is. I've recently been able to like start accepting and acknowledging that, like, I actually really want to be around people who are playing a great game, who are choosing to play at an all-star level, who are choosing to maximize themselves. And it's funny because you say this, and it takes me back to my high school years. I went back and I was looking at my high school yearbook, and in my high school yearbook, I had a friend. It was my senior year. We had all been done with everything, and I had a friend who left a message inside of it. And the message was something along the lines of like, I'm glad that you stopped striving for mediocrity, right? Striving for mediocrity. And it's when you should, I haven't thought about that moment in a very long time, but I remember being in high school, and I'm like, hey, wait, you actually have to work to be mediocre in my mind. I was like, yeah, let's put in the work for that. And
Yeah.
eventually, I was like, okay, well, maybe I don't have to work towards that. If I'm going to put in the work, let's put in the work towards something bigger. But that really resonates with me right here in this element of like of helping people step into greatness and not necessarily settle for mediocrity here.
Yeah.
How did that kind of evolve for you? Because there's an element of me that wants to explore this a bit here, mainly because fulfillment, like I don't, it's an uncomfortable territory for me because as a leader, as someone that like looks out for outliers, for people who are doing things differently in the world, there's a part of me that wants to be really inclusive, you know,
Yeah.
and to include everyone so that we both have big missions. We're both
Yeah.
like leading large organizations and bringing things out into the world.
Yeah.
And so there's this element that tends to that sometimes comes along with me of like, well, if I'm looking for greatness, if I'm filtering for all stars and filtering for people being either high performers or like choosing to do whatever they can to perform at that level, like will I be not inclusive along the way? I'm kind of curious about your experience as you're doing this, how you're able to create and bring people in while still keeping the bar at greatness.
Okay, it's really tough. To be really honest, it's really tough. It's not something that is that you can do in just a short period of time. I think you have to keep at this, be consistent, and be very intentional about this. One thing about people we lead is that they like to look at our life and model after our life. So if you try to bring people to greatness, you must first portray an element of greatness. You may not actually have everything it takes, but there must be something in you that they see differently that they don't see in anybody else. So once this thing begin to motivate and inspire them, they want to come around and want to go through the journey of greatness with you. And this is how we bring people to us. And also, as you're doing that, you try as much as possible to build yourself. So, because when you don't build yourself to the capacity where you're able to feed other people, especially the people you lead, it becomes a problem because you start dying slowly. When I got started in this journey, I had to do a lot of reading. At the point, I was reading about 6 books per month just to get as much information and to minimize my mistakes so I can make the right decision. And over time, it paid off because I was able to handle complex problems and be able to talk to people at a level where they were able to relate and bring those things to practical terms in their life. So when people started noticing all this, it was easy for me to kind of put everything together. So I think it's something that takes time and something we should try to do consistently. And as we keep doing this over time and people begin to notice our impact on the lives of people around the world, they tend to be drawn to take on that journey of greatness with us.
When you say this, it really takes me to this that the thought of like the glimpse of greatness is what comes out in my mind, where it's like, some of the things I'm hearing is it's not about being greatness in its completeness and totality and everything you do is great, right? But it's about finding the parts of you where greatness shines, the glimpses of that.
Yeah.
And then if I'm also getting you, allowing that out to be seen out in the world and to show up in that consistently so that over time, it grows within you and you do the work to grow it. But others get a chance to see that and grow as well. Would you mind in this moment, am I getting that? That kind of getting that right?
Yeah. I get it right.
Would you mind in this moment, I'm feeling it right now, to like share a bit of like the glimpse of greatness that I see in you right now?
All right.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, there's like, because I'm really taken by you. I'm like, as we're having this conversation, the elements of it that feel really great for me is like, I'm so right, let me look at you here. Let me this because I'm feeling a lot here, right? I want to get you down here, right?
All right.
So I absolutely am like, I love that we're talking here, right? Because I feel like you've created, you go out of your way to create resources to make things happen for you, and not just for you, but for others to actually go ahead and build off and grow. I'm tickled that like you live in Nigeria and we're having this conversation right here. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, like he's doing whatever it takes to keep showing up for people,
Yeah.
and it's in that moment, it's like there's nothing else more complicated. We're just getting to know each other, but that element of like doing whatever it takes to just keep showing up for people and to be there, for you doing the work on your own self, for you allowing different like levels of greatness to come through here. It really shines through for me. I just really right now I'm really captured in that here, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
this person, this is a sort of word I use right now. It's been interesting. Tremendous has been showing up for me in the last couple of weeks. Like, this is a tremendous person that's here in front of me here.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. I want to just like kind of, well, there's a couple different things, because you talked about just allowing some parts of the greatness in, and finding that, and really allowing that out into the world. And you also talked about like
Yeah.
the element of it taking time. When you were describing this, it kind of felt like, it actually felt like a concept I talk about, which is like called being a beacon versus being a brand. Where most
Yeah.
times people are trying to be a brand. There's like, who do I need to be? What do I need to be and represent for someone else, for me to go out in the world and for people to like it? But there's almost something what I heard from you, which was like, actually, I'm going to know for myself and know what my greatness is, whatever that bit is. I'm going to take that bit, that seed, and I'm going to grow it. And I'm going to make sure that everything I do in life, like it is surrounded, it shines
Yeah.
out almost like a beacon and says, hey, if you're
Yeah.
looking for some greatness like this, it's, you can find it here. And I
Yeah.
can guide you through. So this feels different than the brand energy of like, I need to go out, to beacon being like, oh, like it is within me, and I like radiate it outward, so that if others are in alignment, they get a chance to come
Yeah.
in. Can you speak to that at
Yeah.
all? Like that's the way that I interpret it, but like I'm kind of curious how you think about it.
Okay, what I think about it is we as human, we have multiple skills. You can build multiple skills over the years, but there's a part of you that over time you must have developed that can really inspire others. For example, you might be a very good public speaker, but you're still learning how to lead people, maybe in certain areas like making decisions and all that. But you are very good at public speaking. So, but as it is with you, you know that that's a place of your strength. And if you really major on that strength and build it, it will really inspire a lot of people. So as you keep trying to build your leadership skills, you anchor on your public speaking skills, inspire a lot of people through that. And over time, you get to connect with people who might have the strengths you need, who might be able to take you on that aspect. So, but if you hold back, trying to say, I need to develop my leadership skills, I can't just do public speaking till that is done, you will cut a lot of opportunities away. And that's what I find a lot of people doing. They're trying to get everything settled, everything okay. They want everything to be just fine before they go out there into the world to shine that element of greatness out. But it doesn't always pay off, and that will take a lot of time. So as you use those things in you that you're really good at, those things that could really deploy your greatness, those part of you that can shine, you give yourself opportunity to grow in another aspect, because you know that, okay, right now I'm great in this aspect. I need to work harder to ensure that other part of my life is balanced, so I'll be able to lead people better. So I think once you have a part of you that is great, that have the capacity to shine that element of greatness, you shouldn't hold back. You should explore as much as you can, then give yourself the opportunity to grow in other areas. So that's what I think about it.
Oh, I love that there. And I think fulfillment, like I like to find opportunities to make this real along the way. And
Yeah.
I'm just also deeply curious. Like we're gonna do a little bit of time travel. We're gonna go back into the past for a bit.
Yeah.
Because I get to meet you right now. And right now I meet you and you're like I get it. I know my greatness. I'm out in the world. I'm shining it. I'm living it. It's a beacon. It's like this, like everything you said, like I see you living it. And
Yeah.
that actually I think is part of what energizes me. I'm like, here goes a person that's in integrity, right? In
Yeah.
integrity along the way. I want to go back in time a bit here to understand like the world before like you were out there choosing to lead in this way, the world before like you were like you had like really embraced your greatness or embraced going for it. We'll come back to the present and where you're going to next in just a bit.
Yeah.
But I want to like I'm really curious about, well, let me say it this way. I've done a lot of like development stuff, like self-development, personal growth, and so forth. And I think a lot of times I hear the ideas, and I'm like, yes, you like it's like you should do this, or like this is available to you. And where I'm sitting, I'm like, I guess I like I just don't have it yet, you know. And I rarely get a chance to like hear like where the others came from. So I'm kind of curious for you, like tell me a little bit about for you, like what was the transition for you really like being able to step into
Okay.
your own knowledge and ownership of this?
Okay. Like I said, before all this started, I wasn't like this. I was kind of scared and confused about my purpose and what I can offer to the world and what impact I can make. It was difficult for me. For a long while, I worked without purpose, but something happened when I went to a program in church. Um, on one and certain day, yes, everything just down on me, and I just gained clarity. I just know that I'm not supposed to live this kind of life I'm living. I have something to offer to the world, but I don't know how to. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to put it together. So the first thing I did, I just rushed back home. I got a note and I wrote down the things I would love to do, how I would love to inspire the people, and my plan. I just wrote some things down. And what I did every morning when I woke up, I asked myself, what can I do to get to this point in life? What changes can I make to my daily life? And that's where I started reading. I know I really lack knowledge, understanding of some certain things. So I started reading a lot. After reading, I try as much as possible to implement those things in my life. Then I don't just read. I don't just read alone. I try to make those things I read practical. So if I learn about waking up early and trying as much as possible to put your life together, make sure your morning routine is really strong. I try to do it. So when I read a book, I write down the things I'm going to do, the decisions I'm going to make, the changes I'm going to make to my life. So as I did that for a year, I noticed a very drastic shift in my life. It was like I transitioned into another person. It's like I changed, I totally transformed. Then when that happened, I began to gain clarity of what I could do. I started seeing and noticing the opportunities before me. Before then, I could not see those opportunities because I did not know they exist, maybe because of my limitation or as I have not grown in knowledge. But after I transitioned, I started seeing a lot of opportunities and I started making plans to take those opportunities. It was difficult at first. I was still a little bit confused, but I met some people that I knew were good in those aspects who have done it before. I took advice from them. Then I started putting everything together. At first, looking as if it's not going to work. It looked as if my resignation is not going to stand. It looked as if nobody is going to be interested in what I do. But over time, as I kept doing, as I kept trying, I failed. Sometimes I made mistake, but I just kept trying and trying to improve on a daily. So, and that's what brought me to where I am today. So, to everyone who want to travel that path of greatness, initially you may not feel like it, you might not look like it, people might not even believe that you can be it. But if you make that decision that you are ready. For me, it was that day I was like, no, I'm not going to live like this anymore. If you're ready to make that decision and you're willing to improve, then you begin to transform to that person you wish you were.
Like there's a lot of gold in what you just said here, and I think like I want to see how you're leveling up your greatness now, but I also like there are a few things that struck me as you were saying this. Do you mind if I call that out really quickly?
Yeah.
and I think the reason I want to do this is not to rephrase it in my own words, but actually to like slow down on like the parts that I feel like don't like we don't often get a chance to like hear, or it like
Yeah.
or we don't actually get a chance to like actually digest. It's like you read the person's Forbes article and you're like, oh, they woke up one day, they weren't this, and the next day they were, they're making millions, whatever it is, right? They're having huge impact.
Yeah.
So some of the things I heard from what you said was you woke up every morning and you asked, what can I do to move towards this? So this was like a
Yeah.
daily decision to move yourself just one bit every day, one bit closer to what it is that you wanted to create in the world.
Yeah.
So I heard that, and you also said, what can I do in my daily life? So it wasn't even it has to be something huge at this point here. It's like, what's one thing I can do to get closer, and how can I make it practical and incorporate it into my daily life today?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think is really like it that feels really doable. It feels really like it's like simple enough, like ask yourself a question in the morning, maybe even like as things are happening, you're like, oh wait, in this moment, what can I do in this moment to move myself one step closer?
Oh, it's very practical.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm feeling that. And then like what I also hear is that this took time. It like over the course of a year, what got me was when you said I transformed into another person, and now I can see all these opportunities that I couldn't see before, because I just because maybe it was the limitation, but you just weren't the same person, and you were still you, but you weren't the same person, and all of a sudden there were new opportunities, new possibilities that became available to you, right?
Yeah.
That strikes me a lot, because I actually think like as we're talking, I think it actually hits me as to why the elements of greatness and playing at all-star level, or like up leveling yourself, is so powerful for me. I grew up, and as I was doing things in life, I'm first generation. My parents are from Ghana, West Africa, so I'm first generation American. And there's a lot of things that I had to like figure out on my own. Like my parents, like they had their experience, but I was also the firstborn. So first generation firstborn, figuring out things about how to live this American life, as they say, right? And what would get me would be, I would accomplish, like something would happen. Or there was an opportunity for something. Let's say that we want to, I don't know, there's an opportunity for someone to go and do something in our spaces together. And either when the prompt was given, or when we came back and talked about it later on, I would hear something like, well, I can't do that, Nihama. Like that's just something that you can do. I'm not you. I can't do that. And it really started messing with my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, is there something that like there's nothing that's actually different about me, but for some reason this thing, like let's say walk up to a random stranger and ask them for directions, right? Something that like this thing is somehow only available to me and is not available to you. It was a real big disconnect. I don't know if you've gone through that, but there's like this idea of like, oh, okay, actually it's not that the actions aren't available, but we have to take the time sometimes to like actually create ourselves to be someone who is open to, or even able to see that those possibilities even exist. Like you're just a different person there. And I think that's something that like, as we're talking, it's helped me like kind of dive into and understand like, oh yeah, this part really feels important. Curious if any of that like has shown up for you, if there's anything that you want to say around that. I also have some curiosity about how you're playing the game now. But before we get to how we play now, I'm just kind of curious about if anything shows up to you about like the aspect of being a different person and seeing like the like going through the transformation. And it isn't that you pretended to be someone else. You did the work over a year, and like you transformed internally. I do want to make sure I call that out, because I think sometimes we try and shortcut it and we're like, well, I don't want to take a year. I want to just like pretend to be this guy now. I'll fake it till I make it. And it's different. There's a different level of integrity and fidelity in what I hear from you. So just why don't you take off there? Let me know your thoughts on that, and then we'll bring it to the present.
Okay. This is the mistake I see a lot of people making. They try to pretend or try to take the shortcut, and shortcut always leads to dangerous. But I understood this from the beginning. I know that I have a lot of things in my life to work on, and you have to train yourself mentally to be able to withstand some certain things, pressure. Because when you start trying to improve yourself, sometimes you'll be under pressure. Will I make it? What will people say? And all these things will just come on you. But when you are determined in your heart that I'm willing to do this, whatever it takes, that's the word, whatever it takes. When you're willing to say that I'm going to do whatever it takes, then that's where you truly begin. Your transformational journey truly begins. But when you have this kind of mindset that, okay, I want to make $1 million after the year, and what will I do? Okay, you just list down some things, and when you try number one, it's not working. Let me try number two. It's not working. I don't think this for me. Then that's why people give up so easily. But somebody with a mindset where I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Like at the number one thing on my list, I'm going to try to do this, and tries and figure it out till it works. That's what differentiates. That's two different persons. That's what differentiates winners from losers. So if you want to transform yourself, you want to become another person, you should know that it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to take work on your end. If you're not willing to put in the work, then it's not going to eventually work. So you have to just you have to just shut your mind to some certain things like distraction. Look at that person. I want to be like that person. And when you try to work on yourself, it's not really working as you want it to work. You're like, okay, it's not working for me. Let me try something else. You have to shut out those distractions, look inward, and try to walk your own unique journey. Try to build yourself. You might be a little slower than somebody else, but that doesn't mean that you won't eventually get there. So that's what I think. It's just about the mindset. Mindset is what really plays in this particular transformational journey.
I love to share. It's like the idea of like walking your own unique journey. Like as you're talking, I'm
Yeah.
like doing whatever it takes to walk your unique journey down the path of greatness. Like it feels like that's what we're talking about. So like fulfillment, like let's talk about where you are right now, right? Look like for where you are right now. And first, I appreciate it. Thank you for letting us like sharing with me like how like what brought you here. Like I can see how like your mind works. I can see like how things like the lens that you choose to walk through the world with as you're out in your leadership. Now let's see with where you are right now. One of my things is, okay, I think we both are about greatness, right? I would call it leveling up. I would call it about like playing an elite game, an all-star game, something like that, right? So we have about like 10 minutes here, and I'd like to play with this here. We can set up some time to have a longer conversation about this at some point.
Yeah.
But like, if you were looking at like assuming everything that you have right now, everything that you've built, everything you have with all the work that you're doing, if all that was great, right? What would need to happen? What would we need to talk about? Like basically, where's your greatness heading? If you're like, where's your greatness heading? Let me ask you this question. I know what I want to ask. I want to ask this. If in 3 years you and I were talking, and you're like, Niyama, I thought I knew what great was when me and you talked for the first time 3 years ago, but like greatness really lives in my life right now, right? Tell me a little bit like when you take 10 seconds to think about it while I'm talking, think about what that greatness would be happening in your life. It was like even bigger, even better than what you thought right now, right? And then let me know, like, what are some of the obstacles as you're thinking about that? What are some of the obstacles? What are some of the roadblocks that you think would get in your way based on where you are right now? So if we were going to transform you into the person who is creating that level of greatness and could see those possibilities, what would we need to talk about today to help you accelerate the next part of your transformation journey?
Okay. If I got it correctly, like talking about what I'll have, the things I'll have to go through, like the things that I will have to scale through to get to the place, that level of greatness I desire, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
I would go ahead, tell me.
Okay, I think one of the obstacles now is trying to because the more you grow, the more people will tend to criticize, especially those people that are envious of your growth. That's one of the challenges that I think you eventually have to deal with, especially when you are going through the journey of greatness. So you have to kind of try to work with different people, especially those who might not really have good intentions about you. And secondly, as you travel the road of greatness, making decisions becomes more complex because sometimes the good things might not really be great things, though they may look like this will be really good for me to do, but they might just be distraction that will end you up in a different destination from where you intended to be. So dealing with distraction, dealing with people, especially those who are envious and those who are critics, the pressure, because it's really difficult, especially as you keep growing, the pressure keep mounting on you. You have to deal with pain. All those things are things that I'll have to try as much as possible to deal with as I travel the road of greatness, because I deal with a lot of stuff and there are too many things now to handle. So it just kind of sometimes it just weighs me down. So I'm still trying to build this capacity to handle pressure, to handle pain, to handle disappointment and critics from people, especially those who might not really love what you're doing, who might try to talk you down, all those stuff. So I think if I can put all those things together and deal with them, I think it will take me to another height of greatness. Yeah.
When you like, I can really feel you right now. Feel you in the elements of the critique. Talked about pressure. You talked about pressure and then building out like the capacity of pressure. Like what I'm feeling in this moment. I recognize two things. I recognize that my natural inclination is to shift into a space toward the end of our conversation where I can offer some service and like coach through some things. And I realize like I've been having a good time talking to you. We don't have like a ton of time here, and I actually want to like slow. I don't want to like I want to both slow down and create a new environment to like actually like go through this here, because I'm hearing. What can I say? I believe in you. That's the thing. Like I believe in you here, and I'm like, okay. It's one thing to talk about everything that we've been here so far. It's one thing to help create a message for others that can help support them. And it's another thing to like actually be able to keep moving down the journey and keep going through that. So I think what I'll do, rather than trying to like bring everything all in all at once, is to stay in this conversation with you to keep for the way that we're going, and then like we'll just like open up some space some other time to like really dive through kind of where you're headed now and like the things around the pressure. You talked about building the capacity to hold that. And I think that's something. So let me say this here. There's an element of me that wants to support you. And like, because that's just what I do. I do it in this podcast. I do it in everything I do. I'm like, that's really where my service is, right? We'll leave, I'll leave that part for another time. Right now.
All right.
But let's do it at that time. All right.
Okay.
What I will say is I'm feeling you in the space of growing the capacity to handle that. That it's not often talked about in terms of it's not like when you say growing the capacity, I think about I talk about my nervous system a lot. Like, can my nervous system handle this? Can my nervous system, the first time I coached someone live and I put it onto a podcast, like heart was beating, it's like who's going to share these things on a personal thing? Is this going to be helpful? Like, am I even doing this right? Like, there's all these different thoughts that come along with it and feelings with it. And what doesn't get spoken a lot is like actually building out the muscle and capacity to handle those challenges or handle like the internal feelings when the external world is bringing whatever it's bringing here. Yeah. There's an element of this that I'm just like, you can't just snap your fingers to build that capacity on it. I'll be curious for you. What are some of the things that have worked for you in the past? It might be different exercises you do. I actually physically do a qigong exercise that I led through by a person named John Wineland. He does a lot of men's work, and he has an exercise about 17 minutes long to help build out the discomfort, like the ability of a person to handle discomfort in their body and beyond, which has made a tremendous difference for me in terms of having the courage to say what needs to be said, or to be able to hear someone bring in like whatever they're bringing to me without me having to like be weighed down by it. What are some of the ways that you have built your capacity over the years? I can imagine it being both exercises or trainings, but also like real experiences that have come out. So I'm just kind of curious about that for you.
Okay, you're talking about the capacity to handle pressure. Okay, one of the things that really helped me was stumbling on a book, and that really got my mind prepared. And the title of the book was The Crushing by Bishop T.D. Jakes. That book really spoke to me, so it helped me to prepare my mind for the journey to come. I now understood after reading that book that it's not going to be easy, there's going to be pressure. So whenever I feel so down, I used to go back to the things I got from the book I highlighted. I will often go back to those books, to those words, and try to encourage myself and say, okay, it's not going to be easy. I have to deal with this. And as I do that, it gets a little easier for me to handle the pressure. And also I get support from my family. I talk to people about it, my mentors, talk to them about what's currently happening and the advice and encourage. I just try as much as possible to do my daily exercise, as you said, and try to free my mind whenever I'm feeling maybe down or the pressure is building up too much. I just try to do activities that will help me release the pressure. So putting all these things combined has really helped a lot.
Awesome. Well, like, I appreciate this year. I'm feeling for myself. I'm like, oh, okay. I know what's playing out right now. And the playing out here is like, I said it before, I really believe in you. And what I want to do is like help support whatever it is that you have coming next, right? We're gonna wrap up this conversation right here, but like share with us here like something that really excites you that's coming up for you right now, and then let us know how like we can go on that journey with you, like where we can go stay connected with you, so on and so forth. Like share with us something that you're working towards. Let's do this. We'll do it in 3 parts. Share with us something you're working towards. Let us know how we can support you. Just put it out here. Like there might be one person now, or like we've talked about, sometimes things happen over time, right? So like if there's like even just one person hearing that right now can really know how to like support you. So I would ask for what it is that like really would support you. Like if it's like I need a private jet to fly over the world to like put that out here. But tell us about what it is that you're working towards now. And then let us know how we can support you. And then we'll wrap up with just like how we can stay in your world.
Okay, I need the major challenge I get, especially in Nigeria, is the economy is really hard and it's difficult to just pass through some certain points. It's not really easy, especially to create content online. Guys, I create a lot of content. I do videos and all that. So if I really love to support, I would love things that will help me create better videos, equipment, PC, cameras, and studio equipment for my podcast. Because my podcast is really getting a lot of recognition. But I think I really need to do a lot, put a lot in the gadgets and the equipment I'll be needing. So that's really been a challenge for me, especially this year. So if I can just get that aspect fixed, I think it will be a little bit easier for me. I will be able to level up my content and present it in a better way that people will be able to consume and enjoy. I think that will pretty much it.
Let's put that out into the world. Like this is the first time I'm actually like creating space for this in this kind of environment. But like I love being in the practice of asking for what you want, right? Being in the practice of putting that out into the world, where it might come from someone that listens to this, or it might be that because you asked for it here, someone else asked you something and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna ask. I'm putting it out in the world. Like, let's make this happen, you know? And so I'm gonna be in receipt of this here. energetically, it's out in the world here. I really respect you for what you do, and I see how you're like I have goodness right now with the content that I have. Like it's time to take that up a level in terms of the equipment and all the other things that come along there. So thank you for being real and continue to walk your talk as you walk your path of greatness. For those of us that are like, you know, who want to continue down the journey with you, who want to walk down the path with you here, what are the best ways that we can stay in, not even stay in connection, but like what are the best ways to really connect and grow in our relationship with you?
Okay, like I said, my podcast Life Upgrade with Fulfillment will be podcast. I do that weekly, and I used to host other people. I used to have guests, especially from the US, from Germany, India, and God have just really helped. I've not really promoted it or maybe run any sponsored ad for it, but it just keep growing on its own. I don't know what God has really been helping. So I would love to do more podcast collaboration. You can go online, search for Living Flames of Fire. You will see most of my content, the things I do. Everything is online on Facebook or any social media platform at all. You will see. Anyone can connect with me there. So it's really, really easy.
Lovely. Love it. Thanks for making it that simple here. We'll wrap up here in this conversation, and I'm gonna speak to anyone that wants to just now or in the future. You know, it really it's interesting because at the end here we ended up going in a different direction here than I normally do. Like to ask like what is it that you would really support you? And I realized I'm like, because Outliers, we're out on our own. You know, a lot of us are walking our own unique path out there, and it's hard. It's not that it's hard, but it's not always easy to come across additional support or additional ways that can like help you move forward. So I just really just want to like create the space and open up that opportunity for us to like be there for each other, and to hear this and to hear like I invite you to think of for yourself what happened when Fulfillment OB came out and said like this is what I'm trying to create next. This is what's coming next. What would happen in your life if you were willing to put out more about how you are stepping up into other levels and also get support? Because I think that at least with us here as Outliers, like we got each other's backs, or we could. And that question of like, what would it really look like to collaborate that way, to collaborate over space and time, you know, there's something about that is really, really exciting. So thank you, Fulfillment OB. I'm so glad we had this conversation. And more importantly, I'm glad that we are in each other's world. This is the beginning of something amazing. People are going to come back years from now and be like, how do y'all know each other? I'm like, do you not hear the conversation? You know, like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm flying out to the studio, you know, and I'll come to your podcast studio with video equipment and all that stuff out there. You're like, yeah, I just kept leveling up. I never stopped pursuing greatness. All seriousness, thank you for who you are. I want to acknowledge you for what you bring to the world and the various ways that you choose to bring your leadership and your greatness out here. I'm glad that we're getting to know each other. I'm looking forward to whatever comes next. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Ready to play at your edge? Come join us inside of the Outliers Edge multiverse, where you have the opportunity to come for 14 days and play in the sandbox of your unique leadership style and take everything about you to its next edge. Go to outliersedge.com/OE guest pass in order to receive your 2-week gift.